Well, Happy New Year. Good morning, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody had a good New Year's Eve. I certainly did. TCU wins straight out. Never really doubted that. Georgia wins with the teaser. Don't ever say, well, I bet a teaser, because that is the reason why we bet teasers. We lose at -6 or -5.5. We win it even. And that's why you bet teaser takes losers away. Fabulous game. Georgia, I was shocked their defense was as bad as it was. They didn't pressure the quarterback as they normally do. So it was a little bit surprising from that standpoint. Normally they like again in the Tennessee game, he had no time to throw, right? He just drops back and the pressure's on him. So I was a little surprised Ohio State had the time and the receivers so wide open. Excuse me, I got to bed late, of course, and very surprising. But otherwise, we got the win, which is all that matters. Big bets on Georgia. I had them in 2 or 3 locks. TCU, I had them in 2 or 3 strong plays also. I didn't lock it, but I loved it. I didn't understand the line. Michigan 7.5. No respect to TCU. I mean, Christ, Michigan beat nobody. All right. And then TCU beats Baylor and Kansas State and Oklahoma State and Texas Tech and Texas. And they don't get any credit for to me, this was like the Texas game where they had the great running backs and they held them down 17-10. They beat them. They didn't score like they did. Now, to get back to J.J. McCarthy, Michigan's quarterback, this was my whole point the whole year. He's not good. He threw 2 pick sixes. He runs around. He scrambles okay. Big freaking deal. But he throws these 2 pick sixes that were a joke. And, he's not a good quarterback. That's the ironic part. The McNamara, the kid who got him last, they would have won with him yesterday because he doesn't turn the ball over. And Harbaugh, again, fucks up and goes to the wrong quarterback, which has been his MO for years, having the wrong quarterback out there. So let's see if we get any family members here today. I don't see anybody viewing yet, but we will see. I'm sure everybody's tired and sleeping, so we will do it anyway and go from there. So now we've got TCU playing Georgia. The line is 14.5. I don't remember the over-under. I love TCU getting 20 points. Are you kidding me? And what do we got? We got Georgia, an 18. What I thought an under defense, and TCU is an 18 with an E defense. But I doubt this game's over. I think it's like 60. And I really doubt. I don't understand Georgia's defense being so weak. So I doubt they're the strong defense. The TCU is going to just explode on them. They're better offense than Ohio State. And then my pet peeve is, where was this Ohio State team that we locked against Michigan at home? Why didn't they show up, right? So that's the biggest problem, is they didn't show up. Their defense sucked. So against Michigan, I'm surprised that they lost. If they would have played like this, they'd have beat Michigan. And the question is, why didn't they play like this? That's always the question. When a team plays really well, TCU played the way they did, Michigan played the way they did. That's exactly what I got. But Georgia did not play the way they normally do, their defense, and their offense did. And Ohio State basically they scored. Their defense was weak, but they didn't play this way against Michigan, which is what was surprising. Good playoff. That's why you need, 8, 12 teams in the playoff. Look at the games you get versus is he sitting out? Is the USC quarterback sitting out? UCLA, the running back sat out. UCLA, that game was so fixed. Thompson Robinson throws 2 interceptions at the 10-yard line, a third interception, fumbles the ball, and they drop a kickoff. The kickoff was at their own 20. So they basically tried to hand the game to Pitt. Even at the end, they're winning. They make the miraculous touchdown with the backup, and I figure, okay, that was another even game. Just win it. So I was a little disappointed there, but that game should never have been close. UCLA should have won the game by 30 points. Anyway, so very happy New Year. TCU, Georgia winning. I called TCU, Georgia. I said, that's your championship game. That's what it is. We will see tomorrow. We got Illinois, LSU, Purdue. I don't know if either quarterback's playing. And then Tulane, USC. USC's quarterback looks like he's playing. And then Penn State, Utah. I don't know if Rising's playing. I assume he is, but who knows? Okay, so let's go to Sunday. Let's go to pro football. All right. So let's look at look at the line and it's 11:30 in the East, so it's 8:30 in Vegas. Line should be up to date. So we start off, we got Tampa Bay, 3.5, 40.5. The line hasn't moved. Washington, 1.5, 40.5. Line hasn't moved. Philly, 5.5. Went from 5.5 to 6, and I think I got 5.5 there. So it keeps moving between 5.5, 6, 6.5. I don't get it. 41.5. So the over's down a point. Atlanta, 6.5, 40.5. This line jumped because of the quarterback for Arizona, McSorley, starting. Now, is there really a difference between Colt McCoy and McSorley? I think McSorley is much better, actually, so I don't get this line jumping. Atlanta's got nothing to play for. What are they going to blow out Arizona? I don't know. Arizona, give them credit. They played a good game against Tampa. Was it Tampa that bad or Arizona? With McSorley, they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I don't understand this line. Jacksonville, 3.5, down from 4.5. And 43.5. That over-under hasn't moved. Detroit, 5.5, 52.5. Interesting. When I woke up, I looked at it before falling back asleep. And it was 53.5. Now it's back to 52.5. So they're monkeying around with it. New England, 2.5, 40.5. So this keeps going down. Weather's fine. So just New England with Mac Jones, terrible quarterback. Tagliafua's out. I don't mind Bridgewater. I like Miami more with Bridgewater. He's a better quarterback. So I like the dog here. KC, 12.5, 44.5. Hasn't moved. The Giants, 5.5, 38.5. Hasn't moved. The Jets, 1.5, 43.5. Hasn't moved. I think it moved up from 42.5 to 43.5. Frisco, 9.5. I've seen 9s. I've seen 9.5s. And 41.5. So you can get a 9 or even buy the half a point here, but Frisco's going to kill them. Green Bay, 3, 47.5. Down from 48.5. Not sure why. Minnesota supposedly wants to beat Green Bay. So they're going to play apparently. So that makes the over very powerful. That is the free play here. Is Green Bay over 47.5, 41.5. San Diego 6.5, 41.5, down from 42.5 against the Rams. Baltimore down to 1.5 now. 35.5, 36. Like the dog there. And Buffalo 1.5, 49.5 hasn't moved. So no real changes. So there's really nothing of, somebody's injured or not playing. We've already got all that news. We know Arizona's quarterback. It's going to be McSorley and not McCoy or McDonald or McAuliffe. They can only have quarterbacks that start with an M, Arizona. So let's go down the list. Arizona, Atlanta. Atlanta 6.5, 40.5. You got McCoy. You just play against Atlanta 40-7. Play against them as a home favorite 9-0, 20-1. Atlanta's not a good home favorite. They're not good to play. They're good to bet against. Arizona is a very good road dog. Big trend is for Arizona. This McSorley didn't look that bad against Tampa. He's a good quarterback from Penn State. I've always liked him. Thought he should have got the start over Lamar Jackson. Baltimore had a chance to go to a more traditional quarterback and win, which is what you need instead of the running quarterback, but they stuck with Lamar Jackson, and look where they're at now. If they pay Lamar Jackson $50 million, they're the stupidest team in the world. So I like Arizona and 12.5 in that game. Jesus, that just seems why, for Atlanta to be 6.5 over anybody. I mean, they're out of the playoffs. So I can see Arizona winning the game very easily. Indy and the Giants, playoff game for the Giants. They need it. 5.5. Do we trust them? Is Nick Foles starting for Indy, or is Ellinger? I don't know where you're getting Foles, why he's starting. What do you got him? Is he for next year? So why do you even play him? I don't quite follow that. I'd be playing Ellinger or letting Ellinger go. Either he can't quarter or he can. Giants 5.5, 38.5. Based on the performance last week, he'd be betting this game under. But I'm not sure you're going to get the same performance. Hey, Ryan, I don't understand pulling Heineke for Wentz. I don't like Heineke that much, but Wentz is terrible. They're trying to get a spark. I don't think it's going to work. I agree, Ryan. I mean, Wentz, how many times do you got to see the guy sucks? And Heineke, they like better, and they're going to play better for him. Although he's had the problems with all the interceptions last week in the big game against the Niners. And basically the coach doesn't like him for whatever reason. He's a bad coach, Rivera. So this is a coach that isn't a very good, he was a good player on the Bears. So what's he doing? Coaching Ditka style? But I don't get that. Hard to explain, but I think we take advantage of it. So let me get to that game. So the Giants need to win. Can they win? All right, they're laying 5.5. So if you tease them plus a half. Win. I think the Giants could win, but we saw Indy go into Minnesota and put up 30 points with Ryan. Here they got Foles, or they got Ellinger. Taylor's out. Their defense, but the Giants aren't. They're going to run Barkley and run Daniel Jones, who's another terrible quarterback. Um, the Giants at home lost to the Lions, so it's hard. They're not a good team. Can I bet a average team in a must-win game? I don't know. Will they win? If they do, it's going to be a close game, I think. I don't think the Giants go out and win 20-0. Maybe they will, but that's not their MO. They're just barely winning. Like I said, when you lose a game to the Lions at home, I have no confidence in you. So I don't have confidence in the Giants. They should win. Play against the Giants 7-0 as a home favorite. Play against Indy 12-2. So it's a double edged sword of betting against both teams. I got better games, so I'm not going to bet this game. But I think the Giants, obviously in a must-win, should get it. But how many teams do we see in a must-win lose? Detroit, Chicago. Here's another one. Detroit laying 5.5 over under a 52.5. The only way I can play this game is to go over. Detroit over team. Chicago over team. They score a lot, no defense on both sides. Detroit, I looked forward to score a lot, but the first game was 32-31, and Fields should have a huge rushing game, and he seems to score a lot. So even though they don't throw the ball that much, and I heard somebody on the radio saying, well, Fields can throw. No, Fields can't throw. He can't read a defense. He can't run a route. He's not a good quarterback. He's a good running back. Again, let's go with the running quarterback. And where's that going to, they won 3 games. So where does that get you? It is ironic. One of the wins was at New England, and they only won 3 games. So funny how I always find the place where they only win the 1 game. So I can't trust Detroit, but I like it over. I like a high-scoring game. Play against Chicago 13-2. Detroit is 7-1 at home. So Detroit should win this game. Can't trust them. It's a big game. They must win it. So therefore they'll lose it. Again, teams choke under pressure. You'd think, they need to win. But that doesn't mean they're going to. In Chicago, Detroit, it's a rivalry. They're not going to lay down and let Detroit pound them. So this game should be very close. And again, I liked it over because you have 2 over teams. So let's recap. Arizona is a E team and a weak defense, and so is Atlanta. So they score mid-20s, and they give up, upper 20s. Probably a high-scoring game, but you don't have the quarterback with Ritter and McCoy. Yeah, that's the other thing with Atlanta. How the hell is Ritter going to blow out Arizona? I mean, it's not going to happen. Yeah, I like Arizona more and more as I look at this. Indy's a W team, means they don't score a lot and a bad defense. The Giants are an E team. Again, an E team's like we score 22, 23, we give up 22, 23. So neither team's got a great defense. Over under 38, they'll probably go over in it. I don't know. Again, I don't know Indy's quarterback and how Foles is going to play. Detroit, Chicago are both over teams, as I mentioned. So this should be fireworks. There should be a lot scoring. I can see Detroit getting in the 30s and the Bears getting in the 30s like the first game. Jacksonville, Houston, Jacksonville, another E team. So the teams are starting to score a little bit more. Jacksonville's been more explosive lately, more of an over team. Houston is sort of a E team. They're scoring. They find 20 points somehow with Mills, and then their terrible defense. I like this game over 43.5. I think Houston gets 20. Jacksonville gets 20. I think they'll score 40. So you got over 37.5. Again, it's a low number. So I do like the game over. I don't trust Jacksonville on the road to be a road favorite. No chance. I think Houston can easily win this game. Jacksonville, all right, I know people are loving Trevor Lawrence. Okay, if you want to bet on Trevor Lawrence, be my guest. I'm here to win. I'm not here to think that Trevor Lawrence is good. He's not. It's a lot of small little passes in the running. So it seems like everybody drops back and the quarterback runs. Well, that's not an offense. I don't know what the hell that is. But he's not a good quarterback. Can't read the defense, can't read a blitz. If you just blitz these guys, that's the problem. The defensive coordinators are so stupid. They keep playing these zones so the quarterback won't run, and then but they don't put pressure on the quarterback. They don't blitz them. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if Houston wins the game outright, or Houston for sure with 9.5 should be good and over. All right, now to your Ryan, Cleveland, Washington. Washington's 1.5, 40.5. We got Deshaun Watson. I had to write his name down so I wouldn't forget it. And Wentz. Watson's been out for 2 years. Not good. Play against Cleveland as a road dog, 10-1. There's a double trend on Washington and Cleveland. Washington's not a good home favorite. One quick note. So Houston is 13-2 in a teaser this year. Cleveland, Washington. So Washington shows me nothing. Cleveland, their defense has been getting better the last few weeks. So statistically, for the whole year, it shows over, but in the last few weeks, it's getting better. Watson still stinks. He'll probably start running the ball a little bit more. Washington, with Wentz, they're not going to score a lot. Their defense, I thought, was good. See, when you go for it at your own 29 against Frisco and you don't make it, then they get a little upset because you disrespected them. This is the problem the coaches don't understand, or don't seem to understand. When I go for 4th and 1 at my own 29, what is the defense saying? They don't respect us. Then they stop them because you run up the middle. You're not even smart enough to run a play action. So you run up the middle or you push the quarterback. I mean, I'm so sick of that play. And with that, you don't get the first down. You've just pissed off the other team. And then they come at you and say, oh, you don't think we're any good? Well, fuck you. And then they just pile it on. That's what happened last week. So Cleveland, this game's pretty even. I would probably take the points or take it under. I wouldn't take Washington to win. I don't trust them, especially Wentz. He sucks. He's like a runner that really can't run, but he's not a good quarterback. Ryan, Jacksonville doesn't need to win. It comes down to next week versus Tennessee. I wonder if it's in the back of mine. No, I don't think you go out to lose. I think when you step foot on the field, I mean, I played baseball, and you go out on the field, you tried to win every game. I mean, even if I played baseball or softball, a Sunday morning league, we tried to win every game. It's a competitive thing that when you're on the field, you're playing to win. There is no, oh, I'm here, I'm not going to try. Then you get injured and you look bad. Nobody wants to look bad. These are professional athletes. So I don't really, so if they win and Tennessee's already lost, but see, Jacksonville still needs the game for the wild card. Because there's that last wild card that they needed for. So I don't know. I think they still need it for the wild card. And if they lay down, I don't see them laying down so they can get up for Tennessee next week. I guarantee you Henry's playing next week. And this new quarterback that they got, the kid from Tennessee. Where was Malik Willis, your big draft pick? Oh yeah, he didn't show up. No, I think Jacksonville plays. I just don't think they're any good. I think Houston wins. Again, so what does Houston got to play for? Houston's out of it. But yeah, Houston plays, and other teams that are out of it, Oakland won't play because they suck. Denver, Cleveland plays. Houston, Chicago is going to play against the Lions. I mean, these teams play even though they're out of it because it's the pride factor. They're professionals. They're getting paid. So, yeah, they go out to win. I mean, that's just the nature of being an athlete. So I like the under in the Washington game. I don't think Wentz gives you anything. Watson doesn't give you anything. Again, if you have good quarterbacks, I like the game over, like Cincinnati, Buffalo, Allen against Burrow. Yeah, that's going to be high scoring. Rodgers against Cousins, that's going to be high scoring. That's your free pick. But when you get Watson and Wentz, you don't have good quarterbacks. Or Lawrence and Mills, you don't have good quarterbacks. Although maybe that gets over. Okay, Philadelphia minus 5.5, 41.5. I like Philly here to clinch. Olave, I don't know if he's playing or not. Kamara's a little banged up, but he's playing. Philly, I don't care if Hurts is the quarterback or Minshew, not a difference. I like Philly at home to get it over with, clinch the 1 seed, clinch the division. Then they can rest next week. So then they would rest next week. They would get Hurts healthy, and his shoulder must be really banged up because I think he would play this week. Wentz might give Cleveland 14 points with that's my Dak Prescott with his two interceptions and fumble against Tennessee. Well, we can beat Tennessee, but let's see. That's where the fix comes in, and then they make it like he throws these interceptions, and it's part of the fix, so keeps the game close. But I think Philly, I think you got to bet them here. They're the best team in the NFC. With Frisco, I don't see them losing at home to New Orleans in a must-win. Because if they lose, then the pressure's on them to win next week to keep the 1 seed and win the division, especially with Dallas winning, and if Minnesota wins, and if Frisco. So I just think it's like, let's get it over with. They don't need to fuck around next week where they got to win for the 1 seed. They're too talented, very strong defense. They're the best team. They're the A team. New Orleans defense isn't that strong, so Minshew should have a big day. And New Orleans offense isn't that strong against this Philly defense. So Minshew will do well, and the defense, I think Philly wins probably a low-scoring game, but I like Philly to clinch it. Philly is 12-2 in a teaser this year. Play against New Orleans 13-2. So it's a perfect – this is a team that doesn't cover New Orleans versus Philly who does. Ryan, I like Philly, but New Orleans will keep it close. Well, maybe they will. I don't care about that because in a teaser, just like my Ohio State my Georgia yesterday, just win. I think Philly wins. I don't know how close. Maybe it's a 10-point game. Yeah, maybe New Orleans in a teaser wins also. That's the beauty of the teaser. But I like Philly just to win the game, and I'm not laying points. Philly, I think, well, I agree with you. I think it'll be close, but I'd rather take Philly to win and end it than New Orleans in 11. Now New Orleans needs the game also, but they're not a good team. Denver, KC 12.5, 44.5. I think Denver is pretty pissed off the way they looked, although they have a new coach. Maybe the old coach bothered them. Russell Wilson's playing. I don't know what's going on, but that's how a coach ruins it. So you don't think coaching is important, and I keep telling you how important it is. And, is KC going to win by 12.5 over a pissed off Denver team? Maybe. KC's going for the 1 seed. Gives them incentive, but just to blow out a team in the NFL, very rare. And Denver plays them twice a year, so it's not a big deal. Oh, it's Mahomes. They're not intimidated by him. I think Denver plays a pretty good game here. I think KC wins. I'm not laying 6.5. It's too big of a number. I don't want to go over a field goal, maybe 4 in the NFL. So we'll see. But I think this game is closer. Maybe it's a 10-point win. Maybe it's an 8. I think KC wins. I don't think Denver wins. But again, all KC wants is the win. They don't care by how much. Miami, New England. Why is New England favored? See, too much emphasis on Tagliavua versus Bridgewater. They're the same quarterback. I don't have a problem. I prefer Bridgewater. He doesn't choke as much. New England with Mac Jones. How do you make them favored? Miami is the better team here. Miami has the worst defense. They're an over team. New England's an under team. They don't score much, have a better defense. I think this game's very close. It's a playoff game. Both teams need it. So I like the points in this game. I think I said, so Philly's an A team. New Orleans is a under team with a mid-20 defense. So Philly should score on them. Denver's an under team. KC's the A team, but their defense is a little bit shaky. So pretty much an even defense there. Pitt, Baltimore, both under teams. Baltimore, I don't care who's quarterbacking, Pickett, Trubisky. What are they even doing in the NFL? Baltimore with Huntley, better than Jackson, but he's no picnic either. I don't think you have much scoring in the game. The spread's down to 1.5. I like Pitt in this game as the dog, and I like this game under. This game, they're Pitt, that defense and the style that they play, run the ball, play defense. I just see this as a very low-scoring game, and you tease the dog. With Huntley, I don't see Baltimore blowing them out. Maybe they win by a touchdown, but you got more than a touchdown. I already got it in. I think I got 8.5 for 9, so I'm not, worried about that. But more or less, I took the game under. I think that's the best way to play this. Just where you're going to get points, and with these type of teams. Carolina, Tampa 3.5, 40.5. Carolina, even team with an under defense. Tampa, an under team. They don't score a lot with an under defense. Probably a low-scoring game, but I like the points. I like the dog here. Yes, Carolina looked good against Detroit, but they're not playing Detroit, and they're not at home. They're at Tampa. However, Carolina 18-2 is a road dog. Tampa is a home favorite. Bet against 6-0. This is all Carolina here, so I like Carolina as the dog. Yeah, I'm fucking with Brady, but Brady didn't show me anything against Arizona in a must-win game. So I think this game, it should be close. Carolina could win. If Tampa wins, it'll be a field goal. Carolina could win. More likely Tampa will win at home. But it'll be a close game. Probably an under, although you don't know when Brady wakes up. So I don't want to go there. I'd rather just take Carolina as the road dog they are, 18-2, and just play the road dog. This should be a very close game. San Fran and Oakland. Stidham is in instead of Carr. Carr's crying. They're all crying in Oakland. The Niners are playing. So to answer Ryan's other question, will Jacksonville play? Will San Francisco play? Will San Diego play? Will Minnesota play? It's the same question, right? All those teams don't really need it. Frisco is pretty much locked in. Maybe they get the 2 seed. Does it really matter? They can't get the 1 seed, therefore they can't get the bye, but they're playing well. They want to play with McCaffrey and Purdy, give them experience getting it. So they're out for blood, Frisco. I think Frisco kills them because their defense is so strong. And now with Stidham, first of all, Oakland's an over team, so they don't have a defense. So Frisco's going to light them up. Frisco's not the under team. They're like Georgia now. They're not the under team. They're more the A team. They pound you and they score a lot. So I think Frisco just kills Oakland with Stidham. I don't know what you're going to do against this defense. So again, here you're betting the defense. You could bet it under, but the way the Niners are playing, I'm scared to bet it under. I bet it under last week with Washington, figuring 2 great defenses, and that one killed me. So I'm not fucking around with that one. I'll just take Frisco to win. The Jets in Seattle, Jets are an under team. Seattle's an over team. So the Jets, we know they have a good defense, not much offense. I don't care if White, Wilson, or Willie is the quarterback. Seattle, they have to win, and they're a home dog. Seattle, we know, is a good dog. The Jets should not be a road favorite. They're like Jacksonville. You can't make them a road favorite. And this is the key psychological point that I try to stress is road favorites. You've got to have a mentality. Like Frisco can be a road favorite, Philly can be a road favorite, Dallas sometimes, but how in the world is the Jets? The Jets aren't a road favorite. A road favorite, you're saying the Jets are going to win this game by 10. Are the Jets capable of beating anybody by 10? I don't think they beat anybody by 10 the whole year. They play a close game. They play to their defense. They don't score a lot. Seattle's very explosive. Now the Jets should keep them in bay a little bit, but the Jets are good for 17 points. That means Seattle's good for 17. So the Jets got to score 28. Where's the Jets going to score 28? Seattle needs the game. They're going to come and play. Coach Pete will design a good defense. So yeah, they're kind of a weak defense, but the Jets aren't the KC's the type of team that can bother them, but not here. And KC beat them 24-10. I think Seattle scores a little bit more. Lockett's playing, and then the Jets again with White. He's okay. He's not Joe Montana, so I don't see the Jets really pounding them. Minnesota, Green Bay 3, 47.5. This is your free play. Go over. Minnesota with an over team. They score a lot with Jefferson and Thielen and Cook, and they give up a lot. Their defense sucks. Green Bay, Rodgers is much better when he's got his receivers. I look for him to be very explosive today against a weak Minnesota. They must win. I mean, he's playing to beat them, supposedly. That's what I heard. So that's where I'm at with this. Just take this 47.5 today, 41. 41 is 23-20s, 43. So you're a winner there. Minnesota gets in the 20s here. This Green Bay team does not have a great defense, and Green Bay with Rodgers should light up Minnesota. He's been getting better, and at least they'll be in the 20s. So this game should get in the 50s, and it's 41. I like the lower line of 47 down to 41. Again, Minnie wants to win, so they ain't got to score a lot. Green Bay is do or die, so they're going to score. So here's where you got Rodgers and Cousins. Here's where you bet the over. Ryan. I'm a Steelers fan, but there is a good chance I will fall asleep. Well, bet the game under, and I barely watch when I bet them under. I just want to see I just want to get to the fourth quarter at 10-10, and then I can watch the last 5 minutes. But it's very hard to watch an under because you're rooting for just punt, kick field goals, go for it on fourth down and don't get it. The new fad. Let's go for it on fourth down. Did you see that with Michigan? They did that. They fumbled once at the 1 yard line. Then they went for it and didn't get it also at the goal line. And then the guy throws 2 pick sixes, and you wonder why Michigan loses. Good coaching, Harbaugh. Instead of just kicking your field goals and taking your points and you would have won, that's okay. It's hard to be a road favorite if you can barely score 17 points. Well, that's my point. Especially in teaser world, right? So we're getting 7.5, 8 points with the home dog, and they're the home dog. So when you're at home and you're the dog, it's one thing if you're playing Philadelphia or San Francisco or Kansas City, Cincinnati. Yeah, you're probably going to be in trouble. When it's the Jets and Jacksonville and Detroit, fuck that. Look at Detroit last week, a road favorite at Carolina. I jumped on Carolina so fast. I didn't care. Now, I didn't expect Carolina to run for 800 yards, but it was a very easy bet as soon as you see the line and you can't explain it. Why was Detroit a road favorite in the game? That's the part I don't even understand. What is Vegas thinking when they make the Lions a road favorite? What are they thinking? Seattle should be a 3-point favorite here. They're at home. It's a playoff game. Why are the Jets favorite? It just blows my mind. Happy New Year, Nick. Yeah, I love this. Well, that's the beauty of the teaser. We got Georgia even, and TCU was never a question. That was beautiful. But yeah, I'm glad Ohio State missed the field goal, but what was Georgia doing? Where was the pressure on the quarterback? I was really shocked by that. Huge lock was Georgia yesterday, even plus a half if you bet it late. I love how the guy on the radio says, "Oh, the sharps bet on Ohio State," and that meant the fix was in for Ohio State, which scared me a little bit because who in their right mind would have bet Ohio State? And then, as I asked, where was that against Michigan? That's what I was expecting against Michigan. And I'll tell you, did you see the Ohio State coach? He looked so scared. Every time Ohio State would score, he's like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah," like he didn't think they could even move the ball in Georgia. So he was so happy they were able to move the ball and score. I've never seen a coach that scared in my life. However, Georgia will probably shut down TCU quarterback when he runs. I like TCU in 20. You see the line on this game, 14 and a half. You got to be fucking kidding me. I don't think they're going to shut down TCU. Michigan's defense is very good, and TCU just lit it up. And what I saw yesterday and what I saw against LSU, Georgia's defense, I don't know what's going on. It's not shut down. So I like TCU in the 20, and I like the game over. It's definitely going to be an over. TCU is an explosive fucking team. Now, are they going to get 2 pick sixes? I doubt it. Georgia doesn't do that. But TCU will score on Georgia. That's for sure. All right. LA, San Diego. San Diego 6.5, 41.5. I love the game over. I think San Diego with Herbert and Eckert and Keenan Allen and Williams scores their 20 to 30 points. And the Rams, maybe they found an offense with Mayfield. I don't know. I mean, they score 17 on Oakland. That's his first game. Okay. Second game, they go to Green Bay. They get 10 points. Oh, okay. Mayfield sucks. Da, 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 da. Then they light up Denver. So I don't know what team we have. We don't have enough. I think they score in the game. I think this game goes over just because the nature of San Diego is pretty high scoring. San Diego is an over team, just like Minnesota. They score a lot. This is the exact same team as Minnesota. Score a lot, no defense. The Rams are even teams, so they score mid to low 20s, give up mid to low 20s. So not a lot of defense. Aaron Donald's out. So I think the Rams with Mayfield are gonna do what South Carolina did to Notre Dame. South Carolina put up a lot of points because Rattler kind of figured it out. And I think with Mayfield putting up 50 on fucking Denver, I don't see where this game doesn't get into the 50s, and it's only a 41. It's 35. This seems very, very low. So that's my point with this game. I think this game goes way over. And last but not least, Buffalo 1.5 over Cincinnati 49.5. Why is Buffalo favorite here? You really look at it, Cincinnati's the better team with the better quarterback and the better defense with Von Miller out. I don't know about better coach. I don't know how good these coaches are. I don't like Buffalo's coach. He goes for 4th down too much, and he runs Josh Allen way too much, where he's basically running sweeps, right? He's got blockers in front, and he doesn't slide. What the fuck? What are you kidding me? This coach is an idiot. So, but you got Joe Burrow as a home dog. They beat Kansas City. They went to Tampa and won. When Burrow, he'll figure it out. He's the best. And he's a home dog. I don't get Buffalo being a road favorite. Cincinnati wins. They have a chance for the 1 seed if KC loses, which they won't because they got Denver and Oakland. So KC will be the 1 seed. But since he's got to win to stay ahead of Baltimore, if Baltimore wins and they lose, they're tied. And I think that gives Baltimore the edge. So Cincinnati, I think if with the win here, wraps up the division. So they're not even winning their division. So they have huge incentive. Buffalo's won the division. They're tied for the 1 seed with KC. So they need it, but you're not going to go to KC and beat them. That's not going to happen. Both are ATs. So I like the game over with these quarterbacks. It's 49. You go to 43, 24-20. Buffalo plays high scoring games. I don't think Buffalo is an under defense anymore. The Miami game, and then last week, what did they play? Buffalo against the Bears, 35-13. So I think Buffalo scores a lot. The Bears got 13, so we know Cincy will get in the 20s, Buffalo in the 20s. It's for sure a 45 to 50 point game, probably more, and you're laying 43. So I think this is easy over. Again, I don't like Buffalo. Their defense against the Bears is one thing. Against Joe Burrow, good luck holding him under 30. So I think it'll be a close game, as we just talked. Buffalo is a road favorite. You got to beat Cincy by 14. You're not going to beat Cincy by 14. So I look for a Cincinnati to win the game. Actually, Nick, Ryan, Georgia TCU line, in my opinion, should be Georgia. I think Georgia -7 should be the line. I don't get the disrespect for TCU. I mean, they beat Baylor, they beat Oak State, they beat Oklahoma, and they killed Oklahoma. They beat Texas. So they beat Texas 17-10, and then they beat Baylor and Kansas State in higher scoring game. They were down 28-10 to K-State, and they won 38-28. K-State's got a hell of a defense. So I look at that line should be about 7, is right. Georgia, where did their defense go? Ohio State puts up 41, and you think this is still the same Georgia defense? LSU put up 30. Georgia's playing high-scoring games now, folks. So we had Georgia even, but I was shocked that it was 62. And, see, here's where Nick goes, well, when do we get off of Georgia under and on to Georgia, and that's what we just did. So we won the only way we could have. Otherwise, it would have been an under, and we would have lost because they scored 80 points in an under 68. So we got onto Georgia, which is now more of an over team than an A team, right? They're explosive, but their defense is lacking. They're not getting pressure to the quarterback. TCU, Michigan has a very strong defense. Didn't do anything. Now, again, yes, there was 2 pick sixes in the game and a lot of explosive plays by TCU. But their defense held. They got the fumble at the goal line. That was defense. So, again, Michigan had technical problems the last play of the game for Michigan. The guy couldn't hike it to the quarterback. Talk about the Michigan choke. That's Harbaugh. He chokes. He always is choked in the big game, and there he goes again. He switching to McCarthy killed him because the guy's not a good quarterback. See, when I tell you about this, that's what I mean, right? He throws 2 pick sixes in a playoff game. You can't have how many interceptions does Joe Montana have in the Super Bowl? The biggest game of all, played in 4 of them, had 0 interceptions. You cannot have interceptions in a big championship game. Georgia had an interception, had 1 or 2. UCLA had 3, my God. But Georgia had 1 or 2. But TCU, I think he had 1 interception also. But you can't turn the ball over. And that's all Michigan did with the 2 pick six, and especially pick sixes. So you're giving up, you're giving up points. So, hey, Greg and John. I think Georgia has 2 injured wide receivers. No, Brock Bowers is not injured. He's the All-American tight end. That one kid. The father played for the Giants. I can't think of his name. Yeah, but it's not even that. Georgia's offense wasn't a problem. It's their defense is the problem, and they're just not. If you watch the Tennessee, McConkey, so he's injured, but it doesn't matter. Bauer, they didn't throw the Bowers that much, but they ran it right through Ohio State. I would have just pounded it all night. They kept going for 10, 15 yards a carry. I would have just kept pounding it. I don't know how they got down in the second half. They didn't pound it. But where was their defense? Nobody was guarding they if they were in man, then the quarterback was running. That's why you blitz. If you blitz, you can't run on a blitz, and you certainly can't have. You can't play man to man with these running quarterbacks because everybody goes deep and the quarterback runs. That's the Oklahoma style. So you got to play more zone, or you've got to play man with, but you've got to blitz it just to not let the quarterback run. In Georgia, again against Tennessee, Hooker had no chance, and he's the same quarterback as the Ohio State quarterback. He's a lot better than him, but you had no chance. But here, what do you got? You got this quarterback, and what's he doing? He's where was the blitz? They're rushing 3 or 4 guys. When they did blitz, they got to him, but he had way too much time that normally you don't get. And I'm sick and tired of these right-handed quarterbacks fading to the right, and the defense doesn't get there. The defense needs to seal that so the quarterback can't just run to the right. And you can't just let the quarterback out of the pocket, run to the right. It's all that Joe Montana play where he ran to the right and he hit Dwight Clark. And that's all they keep doing. Gregor John, what's the pick of the day? Take the Green Bay, Minnesota game over is the pick of the day, Gregor John. I like Duggan. He's a pretty smart quarterback. I mean, I like the coach at TCU. When I saw him destroy Oklahoma, I go, what the fuck's going on here? And I know their coach is one of these offensive guru types, sort of like the Tennessee coach is a very strong offensive coach. And I basically looked at it, and this guy's a very good offensive coach. So when TCU put up 50 on Oklahoma, I started betting TCU and haven't stopped. And if you're giving me 20 points with TCU, I mean, are you kidding me? And I don't see Georgia. This is not last year's Georgia defense. Maybe the defensive coordinator went to Oregon. Maybe this is part of it. I don't know, but what are they doing? They would never have given up 41 to Ohio State last year, right? Ohio State would have been lucky to get first downs. So this is not the same Georgia defense. They gave up a lot to LSU and now a lot here. Alabama is too scared to schedule them. So, maybe Alabama would have put up more points against them. But TCU, this will be a game. There's no way Georgia's shutting out TCU. Not with that offense. Ryan, I think TCU laid their foot off the gas a little too early yesterday. Yeah, I mean, well, and where was their defense? I mean, they let Michigan just kind of walk down the field. Although at the end, TCU, it was 4 and out. And if they would have called targeting on that hit, it would have been – first of all, he hit him in the shoulder pad. Secondly, you can't bail out a team by giving them a target. I'm not even sure how legal the play was, right? Michigan fumbles. The lineman picks it up, gives it to the running back, who then throws it to the receiver. Then they nail him. And I'm not sure – you're telling me there was no lineman downfield? So I'm not sure. I'm glad they didn't call targeting. That would have been a bullshit call, especially then the guy would have had to sit out the Georgia game. So that would have been really devastating. So I'm glad they didn't call it. It wasn't helmet to helmet. He did hit him with the crown, but that was just part of the game because the guy got hit and he was going down to tackle him. But I don't like the targeting rule at all. I think it's bullshit. I think when you go after the guy's head is the only time it should be called. But if you just hit him with the crown of your helmet, but you hit his shoulder pads, no, stop with the safety. It's football, please. So when TCU wanted to, at the end, they shut down Michigan. And McCarthy looked very, very average in that last drive. And that's my point. When I tell you a quarterback stinks, it's because he turns the ball over. And when you need a drive at the end of the game to win it, where is he? He didn't show up. Lawrence doesn't show up. Fields doesn't show up. This McCarthy on Michigan doesn't show up. Too many mistakes by him. He's not a good quarterback. Michigan blew it. by not using the guy from last year. And now he's at Iowa. You watch Iowa next year with this guy from Michigan and their defense. I mean, they'll be a top 5 team next year. And as long as they get their wide receiver, they had like 5 wide receivers injured. So as long as they get that, you watch, they'll be better. Michigan will still suck with their quarterback. Ryan, shouldn't the play should have been blown dead before the targeting call? Michigan guy threw an illegal for. I'm not sure it was illegal, but I would think there'd be linemen down the field. You don't. That was the only pass, so it wasn't illegal because there wasn't another. Like the quarterback fumbled, the lineman picked it up and backward lateral to the guy. So it's like. When the running back goes and throws it back to the quarterback and then the quarterback throws it downfield. So it was fine because there wasn't a forward pass. That part wasn't a problem. I don't believe there was no offensive lineman downfield. I'm sure there was, but the targeting should never have been called. I mean, to me, if they don't call it on the field, I don't want replay to get involved. That's like the IRS looking at something or the government, like, oh, you ran a red light. Well, the cop didn't catch me. Well, yeah, but we got you on video. I don't, no. The cops got to catch me. There's no video crap. So, I mean, that's what I think is if the ref on the field doesn't call it, I think that's it. Don't go to don't have the booth involved. Just too much Big Brother for me. But no, it was legal if there wasn't any linemen down the field. So anyway, your big trends today. So the Giants against Indy. Giants need the game. Indy play against Indy 12-2 in a teaser. Detroit, Chicago. Detroit needs the game. Play against Chicago 13-2. Detroit 7-1 at home. Detroit should win, but you can't trust them. And I like the over in the game. Jacksonville, Houston. Houston's 13-2 in a teaser. I think this game's very close. Houston beat them in Jacksonville. I don't care. Jacksonville, to me, still needs the game as a wild card. They're right there at 7-8 with all the other wild cards. San Diego and Baltimore have clinched, but there's still that last opening. Cleveland, Washington. Washington needs the game. Play against Cleveland as a road dog, 10-1. So it is a Washington play, but Wentz and Watson, 2 of the worst quarterbacks. I think you go under here. New Orleans, Philly, a playoff game. They both need it. Philly wants to clinch the 1 seed. Here's a big trend for you. Philly, 12-2 is a home favorite. Play against New Orleans this year in a teaser, 13-2. This is a nice Philly trend. KC, Denver. KC needs it for the 1 seed. Because if Cincinnati ties them, Cincinnati beat KC. Miami, New England playoff game. Both teams need it for the wild card. I like the dog there. I don't care Bridgewater. He's perfectly fine. Baltimore, Pitt. Pitt needs it for the wild card. Baltimore has clinched the wild card, so there'll be a little less, but if they want to catch Cincy, which is the question. Are they playing to catch Cincy or they're already in the playoffs, so what happens? But I like Pitt here because Pitt must win. Baltimore doesn't. So Baltimore being in the playoff can kind of relax a little bit. Go, well, if we lose, we're still in the playoffs. Pitt must win to get into the playoffs to be the wild card. So a little bit more back against the wall on Pittsburgh. Carolina, Tampa. This is for the division and also the wild card still up because everybody sucks in the NFC except for the top Frisco and Philly and Dallas and I don't know how good Minnie is. You got those 4 and then you got the other rest are dogs and they're all 7-8 trying to get in. But I like the dog here. Carolina 18-2 is a road dog. Is a playoff game, and Tampa sucks. The Niners, Oakland. Nobody needs it, but I think the Niners are just want to get Purdy out there, McCaffrey, and their defense is rolling. Shanahan seems like he's just keeps the foot on the gas pedal, so keep that. The Jets, Seattle. This is a playoff game. I like the dog, especially a home dog here. Seattle should be a 3-point favorite. I don't give a fuck if White's the quarterback. His name is not Joe Namath, so I can't go with my Jets, which I played every week, but not here. Now they're a road favorite. You got to take the home dog in a playoff game. Mini Green Bay. Mini's kind of clinched. They can get the 1 seed if Philly loses, but Philly's on at 4. Supposedly, Mini wants to beat Green Bay to keep them out of the playoffs. Green Bay's been rolling. Aaron Rodgers has been rolling. They got the receivers. Mini, an explosive team. This is your free play. This is an over 47.5. Play it over 41.5. Play it with Buffalo Cincy over if you want to, if you're looking for the second, or Carolina or Pittsburgh or on and on and on, or Philly. San Diego 6.5. They don't really need the game. They're locked in as a wild card. I think this is a high scoring game because I think the Rams kind of figured it out. Mayfield's a veteran. You score 51 on Denver. I think you're going to score 20 on San Diego. And this is only a 41.5. It's 35.5. Christ. Unless we hear somebody sitting out, this is definitely an over. And then Buffalo, Cincinnati. Cincinnati should be favored. Buffalo's got no business being favored here. They're not that strong as a road favorite. They're a good home favorite. That's when they tend to get the blowouts, but not on the road. They struggle on the road. They don't have Von Miller. Cincinnati is very strong with Burrow and Chase. It's very dominating defense. I look for the game over. And Cincinnati in 7.5 is gold. I see them winning the game. They want to win it, and good luck beating Burrow. If you do beat him, you're not going to beat him by much. 7.5. So if you take Buffalo, you're assuming they'll win by 14, right? That's not going to happen in Cincy at home. So definitely like the game over with Buffalo scores a lot in their defense without Von Miller's giving up points. They're a lot like Georgia in the fact that they had this killer defense. Then you get some injuries, and they're giving up their 29 points to Miami. That was a lock a few weeks ago. I had Buffalo even to beat Miami, and I just sweat that one out. I got the win, but it was like, where's Miami getting 29 points with Tagliabue? So that's my point. Well, Burrow is going to light him up. I mean, he's 10 times better than Tagliabue. So you're betting Burrow at home as a dog. They beat KC. They beat at Tampa after being down 17. Cincinnati is the better team here. Ryan, let's see. I live in Wisconsin. I would like to see the Packers win out and have Cleveland beat Washington. Well, you might get that. I think the Packers beat Minnesota. They're the choke team with Kirk Cousins. But I think it's a high-scoring game. So I'm looking at the game going, what's the best way to play it? I believe over. Will Green Bay win? I don't know. The number 9 receiver, is he playing today? I see he's questionable. He's huge for Aaron Rodgers. They've really been connecting. Avocado time. So we'll see. But Cleveland can easily beat Washington with Wentz. And the Packers are on a roll. If they win today, they'll beat the Lions for sure next week. Prophet, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. I hope you had the Georgia teaser with TCU. Ryan, Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl last year, been playing good ball lately, and Burrow can win big games. It's 3-0 versus Mahomes. Since you should be favored. That's my point. Since you should be a 3-point favorite. Again, Vegas fucked up the line. That's why I'm here, because I straighten this shit out. I love when they say the sharps are on this or that. I'm the sharp, and I don't fucking wait till game time to bet it. I bet this game 3 days ago, taking Cincinnati in the over. You don't wait till 12:30 on Sunday, then the money comes in. You take the money when it's there. But yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I identify the better teams. Like I said, TCU will give Georgia all they want, if not win it. Georgia doesn't look right. Their defense is giving up too many points against Ohio State. TCU's got a better offense than Ohio State. I'm telling you, their coach is a very strong Sonny Dykes. very strong offensive coach, but their defense is good. 2 pick sixes didn't come accidentally. They got good cornerbacks. Are they going to get pick sixes against Georgia? I doubt it. But here's where Duggan and, I think Bennett, Georgia's quarterback's underrated. I think he's a very good quarterback. I mean, he had no problem yesterday putting up 42 points against Ohio State. No, Ohio State's defense sucked. It's ironic. They went and got a new defensive coordinator, and they were trying to say this is the guy, and then he gives up 50 points to Michigan and 50 to Georgia. So I think they got to go find another defensive coordinator. But see, now you'll see C.J. Stroud. Oh, we need to draft him. Look how strong he is. He doesn't do anything. All he did was run because they played man on man. Well, you don't get that in the pros, and the guys are faster. And Ohio State has much better receivers than Washington or Chicago. Which is unbelievable that the pros don't have as good of receivers as Ohio State does. But, that's the thing. Fields is terrible in the pros because you can't read a defense. And, he doesn't have progressions and he can't hit receivers. I mean, Tom Brady the old Tom Brady, if he played on Chicago, would have no problem finding receivers. He did it at New England unless he had the Randy Moss that one year. TCU plus 14.5 is the play by. No. You tease it. You get 20.5 with TCU and you go over. Surprised the line's that high. Absolutely. The line should be 7 at the most. Should be just what it was with Ohio. Okay. TCU is a better team than Ohio State. Georgia was 5.5 over Ohio State. Why are they? See, and this is where the market comes in, right? So the free market is saying TCU sucks, even though they just beat Michigan. Georgia's a superpower. Since they don't know TCU, they're not going to get as much money. So there's a lot of Ohio State betting that came in, much like Notre Dame and Alabama, right? In a Notre Dame or an Alabama game, all the money goes on Notre Dame or Alabama. Therefore, they always have a strange line because you should have that. So in this case, it's TCU who people don't know as much as well as I do. So that line is way out of control, 14.5. I think they look at that as like the Georgia LSU game where Georgia won by 30 points. And I'm like, no. They are the same team as Ohio State. Duggan is a very good quarterback. He can run. They showed you all their plays. Michigan couldn't stop any of them. And their defense came up, goal line fumble, 2 pick sixes. They're going to do the same against Georgia. Georgia doesn't look any better than Michigan, which is surprising because, they're a little better. They got Bowers, the tight end, and I think the quarterback, Bennett, is much better than the Michigan quarterback. I think he's a very good quarterback. He just doesn't run as much, but he runs. He's fine. So I think what you have here is a bad line. That's why I make my own lines. It should be 7 or 8, 10 at the most, but 14.5. You tease it to 20.5. If I lose, I lose. It's not going to be a lock, but TCU and 20.5 points, I would take them 20.5 against the Lions, Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay. I mean, they would stay in there against the pro teams. Georgia just doesn't show me the defense. This is not the Georgia defense that played Tennessee 26-10. I don't know what happened to that defense. I assume there's some injuries, but where is my defense? It's not there. This game against Ohio State should have been 35-0. I don't know where the defense went. So in my mind, if it ain't there, TCU is going to take advantage of it too. And I almost wouldn't be surprised if TCU won. After watching Georgia, Ohio State was not a very good team this year. Keep that in mind, all right? They weren't very good. They lost to Michigan. Where was this game against Michigan? This is my pet peeve. Where was Ohio State against Michigan? Why didn't they play like this? They get in the playoff, all of a sudden they play harder. You don't play hard against Michigan? Really? So that's what I'm surprised at is Ohio State fell apart against Michigan and then could play like this. And again, that was Ohio State's only game against a good team. Michigan didn't play any good teams. They played Ohio State, but not this Ohio State team that played last night. I wasn't surprised TCU beat them. So that's what you have. So I think it's a very close game. I think it's very high scoring. TCU will put up a 40. If Ohio State put up a 40, you get an 80-point game. You're going to get an 80-point game here because Georgia is very good at scoring. They have such good power backs. Bauer's the tight end. The quarterback is good. I mean, look what he did. They needed a touchdown. He got a touchdown. That's the difference. Bennett drove him down. Couple of big passes, got a touchdown with a minute and a half left, he threw the touchdown to win the game. That's my point. I would draft Bennett ahead of half these clowns, ahead of the Ohio State guy and the Alabama guy. This guy, all he does is win. So, I mean, he doesn't hurt you. He's a very good quarterback. He reminds me of Montana because that's what Montana would do. Didn't have the greatest arm, wasn't going to run on you. All he did was complete passes and score touchdowns and win games. That's what he did in college. That's what he did for the Niners. So I don't have a problem with Bennett. TCU 21 and over, absolutely all day. I mean, think about it. TCU gets 21 points. How in the world are you gonna? How are they not gonna stay within 21? And then the over. Look at the over. TCU is more explosive than Ohio State. Georgia, their defense isn't there. So, yeah, that's a perfect play, Prophet. Hit that pretty strong. How much do you think the national championship game line will drop by kickoff? It'll definitely, 14 and a half? Will probably end up at 10. I think you bet that game now. The TCU 21 or the TCU over. The over probably goes up to 60. It probably ends at 10 and 60 is my guess. And I still like TCU at that. But, yeah, get it in at 14 and a half and then, 61 over 55. Yeah, you get that in before it goes to 65. I don't know. This is, again, the Vegas bullshit early line, and then Monday it'll get adjusted to 10 and a half and 65, the typical Vegas bullshit. So, yeah, get it in now. There's absolutely no reason not to take TCU at 21. That's just ridiculous. I mean, they put up 50 on Michigan, okay? 50. Michigan had a top 5 defense. Granted, 2 of them were pick sixes, not the defense's fault, but how did you do at the casino? I played a little bit of poker. I got there for the fourth quarter of the Michigan game. I didn't know when to go. And I knew as soon as the Georgia game was on, I had to focus on that. I couldn't focus on poker. So I kind of lost $20, no big deal. I made one stupid call. But basically, I didn't like the table. There was a guy sitting next to me, and his buddy was 2 away. And they were colluding. They were playing teams. I don't like that. I didn't like the guy next to me. I go to him, nice call. He made a good call. I go, nice call. I like to talk. And he was ignoring me. And I said, fuck you. Nobody treats me like that. I go like, you don't know who I am. So I said, fuck you. I got up and left, and I was going to play again later. But the Georgia game was so tight, I didn't want to. I was more concentrating on that. It was just it was like, what the fuck's it on New Year's Eve for? So it just made it very tough. I think they should play. The playoff game should have been Monday, not New Year's Eve, because New Year's Eve is a different night. So I didn't I was distracted by it more than probably what I thought. Though I thought Georgia would be up 30-0, and I don't need to watch it, but I could watch the TCU game was up 20 points. So I got 13 and a half. So I was able to just concentrate on that. But I just wasn't into it. I didn't like the table. So I didn't really, I played for about 45 minutes. And then when the Georgia game came on, I just left. Now, here's the problems at MGM in Detroit. So I go to the sports book, which is 13-10. So I'm not going to make a bet. And I go to watch the game. They wanted $25 to sit. I just got up and left. I went to a slot machine, and they got TVs all over the place. So I went to a slot machine. I didn't play slots, and I sat down and watched the game from the slot machine. But then Ohio State was scoring, so I went to a different spot and watched it, and Georgia came back. So I said, okay, I'm staying here. And then I left. I think I left at 10:30. I was like so bored with the Georgia game. I just wanted to get the final, so I didn't want to watch it all. And there was just nothing going on. It was half empty. Bunch of $50 blackjack and $35 crap. Like, what the fuck are you doing? There was people at the table, but you're like, maybe because it was New Year's Eve, but who's playing $50 a hand blackjack? You got to be kidding. So there was very different, I don't know who's managing these casinos, but they got their head up their ass. They missed the concept of you want a lot of people playing. They think, well, we'll have the $50 table, so we'll win more on the $50 table because they fuck the odds. Like blackjack pays 6-5 instead of 7-6, and maybe you can't split, or one card on aces or eights or whatever it is. So it ends up where it's just the odds are terrible, but then they want $50 a hand, and you're like, it sucks. The buffet was closed. So I cooked my steaks here and then went down and mostly to watch the games. Poker was, like I said, it was half full. I was going to go back, but the way the Georgia game went, my focus would have been on the game, so it's hard to play poker. I'll probably maybe go next weekend or something, or Friday night and go play poker, but I can't. If the football's on, I'm going to watch the football. So I played one hand bad, and then I won a big hand, flopping 2 pair and playing it nice, not letting anybody know I had a good hand because I didn't bet it, and then I bet it at the end and won. So I kind of, I lost like $20. Let's see. Profit. Okay. Bobby, what's up? Hey, Bobby. Damn, I didn't know you were on till now. Well, like I said, you probably want to unsubscribe and then resubscribe and then hit the notification again. Or maybe you hit it and you double hit it so it's not on. But yeah, I came on about 11:20 because of it's Sunday for football. I missed the story. Who was fucking around with our professor? No, there was 2 guys who knew each other playing teams, which means they signal each other. And, they kept, one guy would bet, the other guy would raise just on the bullshit. If it wasn't one guy raising, it was the other guy. So it was team play. So I noticed it immediately. And when I left, I told the pit boss or whoever runs I said, there's teams at table 11, seat 3 and seat 5 are playing together. But I caught it and I burned one guy and that was it. And I got terrible cards. And then I had to fold pocket queens because an ace came out on the flop and they bet on it. So I'm smart enough to get away from queens when an ace flops. Georgia game went past midnight. Oh, I don't know. I just clicked. I was home, so I was just clicking on it. Me and Prophet will go kick their asses if needed. Thank you, Bobby. No, I'll just beat them playing poker. Yeah, those college playoff games were crazy, especially the second one. Defense was nowhere to be found in those games. It was over galore, which is surprising. Georgia, that over-under was 62, and it really didn't move. And the best one is the TCU went from 60 to 58, the over-under. 58, wasn't that the halftime score? Wasn't there 58? Prophet, yes, sir. We are the Prophet. Thank you, Prophet. Thank you, Bobby. Um, I don't. I saw the TCU Michigan over. I did not see Georgia Ohio State over. I saw that more under, but yeah, I have Michigan TCU over 58 because I know TCU is an explosive team. But I did not have the Georgia game over at all. I mean, they're both good defenses statistically. Something happened to Georgia's defense is all I know. Anyway, 12:45 free play today. Minnesota, Green Bay go over. Minnie wants to win. Green Bay has to win. Look for a lot of scoring with two weak defenses, and we'll give you the Cincinnati Buffalo over. You can tease it with if you like. But yeah, it was. I think the UCLA game was fixed. The guy throws two interceptions at the 10-yard line, a third interception. They fumble a kickoff. How the fuck do you fumble a kickoff at the 20-yard line? It was a short kickoff. And Pitt's terrible. That Nick Patty's terrible. All he did was run. Where was the pressure? Why didn't UCLA blitz him more? This is the problem with defenses. They're letting these shitty quarterbacks go back and then run because they're rushing a three-man line. What the fuck? You rush six and you nail them in the backfield, and that's it. The guy can't throw. They're just runners. So UCLA should have been an easy. They should have won by 3 touchdowns easy. That was ridiculous. Anyway, so today will be interesting. Again, to go through it, the Giants must win. Detroit must win, but I bet the game over. I do not trust Detroit to win a game. They must win. Jacksonville will probably lose at Houston. Washington, Cleveland, Carson Wentz, enough said. New Orleans, Philly. I think Philly gets the W and clinches so they can relax next week. KC should beat Denver. I don't know about 12.5, though. It seems high. Miami, New England, tease the dog. Pitt, Baltimore, tease the dog. Carolina, Tampa, tease the dog. All playoff games. Frisco, Oakland. Frisco will kill them. Jets to Seattle, tease the dog. Mini Green Bay. You can only go over. You can't trust. Maybe Green Bay wins, but Mini can score. So it's going to be an over more than I take Mini a 9. LA, San Diego, I think that's over because I think Mayfield looked good. I think they score. Obviously, LA hasn't quit. And then San Diego, nothing to play for, but I still think they play. I don't think they just sit everybody out. Maybe next week, but not this week. And then Buffalo, Cincy, we like Cincy and the over. 2 good quarterbacks. Buffalo's defense is really weak right now without Von Miller. And I think Burrow just crushes them, and definitely a 55-point game. You're 49 under 6-43. That's what we have today. Bowl games, nothing today. Tomorrow, we got Old Mississippi State and Illinois. I know Bobby likes Mississippi State because of the coach. I don't think it matters. I think this game's under. LSU, Purdue, I have no idea. Both quarterbacks are, I think, probably out. So I don't know. LSU 14-point favorites. I don't buy that. USC, it's up to the quarterback. If he plays, which he's probable, USC will beat Tulane. And then Penn State, Utah. A couple of Utah players are out. We don't know about Rising yet. If he plays, I like Utah with Rising. If he doesn't play, then we probably, I don't know what to do with it. I'll just lay away from it. So that's football. So the casino just, it was half full, which is unusual New Year's Eve. I think it was a late crowd because I left about 10:30 and there was a lot of people coming in. I just think they're going broke, charging $25 to sit at the sports book when you've got 10 TVs all over the place that you could just sit at the slot machine and watch like I did. The food's terrible there. No buffet. The little Coney's. Now, here's another thing. So I go to this restaurant called Tap, which is kind of the regular coffee shop, a little fancier than a coffee shop restaurant. But it's basically hamburgers, chili, although you could get ribs and steak there. Although I don't know who orders. $46 for a New York strip. Mine was $9.99 a pound. So I made 3 of them, so I'm gonna have one today. But why the fuck would I pay $46 for a steak, and not even a steakhouse, when I had one for dinner? So I don't know. That's just how I think. Bobby with LSU, yeah. Bobby, did you tell anybody about gold and silver at the casino last month? Yes, I actually did. Not at the poker table, because I tried talking to the guy next to me and he ignored me, and I was like, fuck you, and got up and left. I don't like that. Be friendly. We're playing poker. So I go to the sports book and I'm, $25 to sit down. I go, fuck you. So I go to a slot machine and there's this lady next to me. We start talking. I says, is it okay to talk to you? I don't know. People are so strange. And she actually was in the gold and silver herself. I think we were just talking about the bullshit of the casino, how they're going broke because, they're missing the boat. I think we were talking about Old Vegas. Then I said, well, I teach economics. Do you have any silver and gold? And I think she understood that. So she had some, or she was buying some or whatever, but she knew what I was talking about, because you got to be careful. Most of these people, again, you're the only ones being taught this. I was taught this in 1995, but nobody gets taught this anymore. So when I'm teaching you, there's us, and then the rest of most of the world, most of the U.S. is Keynesian, where they don't understand gold and silver. And then Europe does a little bit more. Russia does. They get gold and silver. Like I said, my Ukrainian girlfriend, she gets gold and silver. She's excited when I give it to her. So I think more Europe understands it, but not the U.S. So she got it, and but I didn't talk to anybody at poker. I was too into the game. I think they didn't like me because I was rooting for TCU, and TCU scored, and I'm clapping, and then at the end, all right, TCU won, and they're probably all Michigan fans, so I just was laughing at them. So maybe that's why the guy didn't talk to me. But I didn't, at poker, I didn't bring it up. That's where I would, but it depends on the friendly table. Then I was cashing in and I was talking to a guy in front of me, and he's like, yeah, I hate when they don't talk to you. And, so he was cool, but we were just waiting in line to cash the chips. Profit, people will only jump on gold once the price starts moving because they're stupid. They don't get that it's going to move. They're all sheep, and it's like it's like Tesla goes up, then they all jump on it after it went up, but they don't know to get out when it's dropping because nobody wants electric cars, right? And then you guys are telling me there's a lot of fires in the cars, and battery goes, that's $5,000. Nobody wants an electric car. Nobody cares. And these companies that are making them are all going to go out of business, because the name of the game is to sell your inventory. But you can't sell inventory if there's no demand. If Say's law doesn't apply, you're fucked, because your business will not succeed, because you're going to make inventory that you can't sell, like the last job I was at. Bobby, yes, Michigan made a nice comeback, but I was going for TCU to close it. Yeah, well, I had TCU anyway with the points. I had 13.5. I was never, when it got close, TCU just scored a couple more touchdowns, and the better team won. I was happy. 100% agree, Prophet. Sadly, most people are just followers and bandwagoners. Well, most people don't know how to think, and that's what public school does to you. It doesn't. My kids, before I got divorced, would, 10, 12, 13, they'd go to school all day. They'd come home and had all this homework to do. And they'd wait for dad to do the homework, which didn't help them. But they never had time to sit and relax and veg out and think. and they just were bombarded with at school and then bombarded with homework. And I told my kids, don't do the homework. I don't care. I'm not going to hold it against you. If the teacher has a problem, fuck them. I'm not going to take it from the teacher. I wanted to homeschool. This is half the reason I got divorced. I wanted to homeschool my kids. And my wife, oh no, they need the experience of being with kids. And I go, well, it's all bullshit. It's all peer pressure. It's all sexual and dating kids in junior high and high school. I go, there's no benefit to going to public school at all. They don't learn anything. They get bullied, or they compare themselves and the other girl's prettier, or I had daughters. So it was like, there's no benefit. I can teach her one-on-one. I can teach her economics, finance, math, Excel, all that shit. I can teach them statistics, which is what we do here with the football. I says, I can teach them all that. And it's not even like here, I teach you. It's not even like teaching. It's not even like learning. We're just having a conversation, but you're learning everything. Profit, 45 minutes to quick charge an electric car as well. But how much is it going to cost? See, right now, I don't know what it costs you to charge your car. However, once they trap everybody into electric cars, it's going to be like $100, $200 to charge it, right? You're all going to be fucked. I just assume keep the gas, and the gas prices will drop if everybody's electric. They just fall for what's hype at the moment. They're all robots. They're sheep. They don't think. They don't have an actual strategy. Laugh out loud. I wish the professor was my dad. Yeah. Well, that's what my daughters would do. They'd wait for me to come home, and I'd be exhausted. I'd work all day in finance. Not a salesman. I was an analyst like I do here. So I was not in a condition. I'd eat, and then I wanted to go work out. I wanted to veg out. If it was football season, I got to do my football. So I would help them, but I didn't like my oldest, kind of didn't try. She just wanted me to do it for her. And the way the math books were set up, it was the strangest math I've ever seen. So I couldn't just do the math. I had to understand the way they were doing it. You know how like they're going across for instead of 22 plus 22 is 44, add the twos. It was like go sideways or up and down or diagonal or something. So I had to understand how the fuck the problems were, to even teach her. I had to explain it to her. I thought it was ridiculous. And there's no point in it. So anyway, but I didn't like that. My daughter would just wait for me and do my homework. And I said, okay, no, that's not happening. So just our argument about homeschool. If I homeschool, then I can sit with an hour. She'll learn 20 times as much. She won't have the peer pressure. She'll have a lot more time to think and, do what she wants, because that's what life is, right? This class is doing what you guys like to talk about, and we don't even know it's a class, but we're all, well, you're learning. I'm learning a little too, but you guys are learning a lot about gold and economics and everything else we talk about, but we don't realize that it's a class. Yeah, the new math. Why do we need new math? That's the point. What's wrong with the old math? That's like, well, that's what they're saying. Gold and silver you don't need, because they don't want you in gold and silver. So they try to make it sound like you don't need it. And then everybody runs into Bitcoin, but nobody can answer the question why. Everybody thinks Bitcoin's going up. Do you know Russian mafia runs it? Why are you in Bitcoin? Nobody really knows. They just think it'll go up because it did go up. And then they all jump in. They don't know when to get out. They don't realize it's going to zero. It's got nothing to do with the dollar. So as the dollar is inflated, gold and silver go up because it takes more dollars to buy it. But that's not what happens in Bitcoin. So nobody gets that. They just are like you guys are saying, they're just sheep. They're going, oh, Bitcoin went up to 70,000 an ounce. They don't know why. Where's it getting the value from? Supply and demand? What kind of supply and demand? Where's supply and demand in Bitcoin? There's 21 million is not short supply. And then where's the demand? You can't tell me demand because nobody knows who's buying it. Because it's all secret and private. So if I bought a Bitcoin, would anybody know? No. But gold and silver, that's about to go through the roof because of all the banks and central banks are buying it, and they all are losing money. So all these governments need gold to go up so they can pay off their debt. Everybody has huge debt. And a lot of people are getting out of the dollar, so it's crashing. So be aware of this is crashing because all these countries are now not in the US. They're in it because it's better than their currency, but this is still a terrible currency. But people think it's safe haven because they don't know how to think on their own. So they still think it's well, nothing can happen to the dollar. Oh, really? Nothing can happen to the dollar. Okay. We will see. So you have that. If you guys are going to watch football, go ahead. I'll stay a little longer. I like how you morph from football to economics so seamlessly. That's because I'm not memorizing anything. It's all, I know it. I mean, I learned this economics in 1993, 94, 95. Like my notes say like 19, I dated my notes. So here it's 6/8/93 is when I did the trade cycle. So I learned it so well and I use it every day and it makes perfect sense to me. And so I can easily, again, I'm not reading, I understand it and I just know it. And just like poker, I don't have to sit there and figure out what's happening. I already know everything. Football, I already know. I see the line 14.5. I go take TCU in 20.5. It's already a done deal as far as that goes. So all I need is 5 seconds to look at it. I don't see any injuries if anybody has the injuries, it's Georgia and their defense kind of sucks. But yeah, well, I think that hurts me at work because I like to talk at work and I think the new workforce, these younger kids can't handle it. I'd be telling everybody, you better buy gold and silver. And I got in trouble because, you're telling, oh, I'm bothering people. I go, who the fuck am I bothering? It's concerning. These people who don't have gold and silver, they need to protect themselves. Sort of like the girl with the $100 if Cincinnati won. I was just being nice and helping her, and I liked her. So, I mean, but I didn't bring up sex. And with these guys, these idiots in Alabama, I go, where's your money? Oh, I have it in stocks. I go, you better get it out. And I had sold all my stocks a year ago. I said, you better get it out. Oh, no, Howard, you're older than me. It'll drop and then it'll come back. And I'm thinking, and I said, no, it's not coming back this time. It's dropping and dropping and dropping. And like in Japan, they said the same thing when it collapsed in 89 and it still hasn't recovered. And we're in 2023 now. So no, it doesn't just come back. Again, these are idiots who don't understand, who think, well, this is what will always happen. And they don't realize this time's different. So I try to point out the difference. Let's see, profit. Do they have private tables at your casino? They have high roller, like I think there's a high roller slot machine or blackjack or something. I'm sure it's probably 50 to 100 a hand. Poker's different. They're just going to have poker tables. So there is a high roller. There's also a smoker section. So there's a couple of smoker sections. People like to poison themselves. Then they wonder why they die of cancer after they poison themselves with the cigarettes. They just want to keep from achieving financial freedom so they can keep them as their slaves forever. Well, you're exactly right, Bobby. The government, let's keep in mind, what is a government? It's power and control. It used to be, okay, Bobby, I'm going to vote for you. This is what I want. And me and you have the same idea. So I want freedom and no taxes and no inflation. Okay, and you agree. I'm going to vote for Bobby, and Bobby's there for our best interest. Well, I know what my people want, and I'm going to be I'm just in charge of all because we can't have everybody in politics. But now what's happening is that's 1776. That's the way it was founded. Now you have, and yet it was all Adam Smith based, invisible hand, let the market determine. Everything was market based. There was not supposed to be money. There was supposed to be gold and silver, and there wasn't supposed to be a central bank. Those were illegal. How they got it in 1913, I have no fucking idea, but that's what brought in income tax and inflation. And that's how they control us. So now the point of government is to control. It's to be needed, right? I want power and control over you. And how do I do that? Well, with money, normally. So I'm going to tax you and inflation so I can control you. So you don't have freedom, but I do it in a way you don't realize I'm fucking everybody over, and you don't have freedom. You got to wear a seatbelt, and now you can't smoke in public. Well, that's bullshit. Smoking is a legal act. If I want to go to a store and smoke, if I want to go to the mall and smoke, I should be able to go to the mall and smoke. If the people don't have to, they can move away. But I have just as much right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as they do. So if I want to smoke, I should be able to smoke. And that's the start of it. Then it becomes they take your freedom away. Now you can't do something. You can't smoke. You can't do this. You got to wear a mask. What the fuck was that? What do you mean I got to wear a mask for COVID? You don't even know COVID's real and I got to wear a mask? I don't want to wear a mask. Life, liberty, and pursuit of freedom, pursuit of happiness. I make my own decisions. I don't want government making decisions for me. I'll make the decisions for me. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it was set up. And that's how everything should be. Laissez-faire economics, invisible hand. It's whatever I want to do. When I want to buy this, I want to buy that. That's what it should be. We don't want the government involved controlling. And that's what the government does, is control, because they need power. The only way they can get power, they can't get power unless we give it to them. And so if they raise our taxes, that's why they do inflation, because it's a tax increase, and yet nobody understands it. So nobody realizes it's the tax increase. And then they can say, well, we didn't increase your taxes. Bullshit. You killed my money. What are you talking about? So that's what I noticed yesterday at the casino. A lot of idiots playing slot machines. I don't know. I don't know how many people were eating. I don't know how many people were I saw a lot of empty tables. Who has $50 a hand to play? I would see somebody at the $25 blackjack, and I just rolled my eyes like, what the fuck are you doing here? And it's bad odds. But I just got the feeling people were just playing $20 at the slot machines, but they were really packed. But the blackjack, I said to one of the pit bosses, where's the normal blackjack? I don't know what half of these are. Can I just play normal blackjack? And it was on the other side near the restaurant, and it was like 35 a hand. I said, well, fuck this. I'm not playing that. I ended up playing a Game Master, which I played blackjack a quarter a hand, and I know I'm fucked because it's a computer. So I play my system of, as I win, I increase my bet. So I ended up winning $12, and I walked. I was like, thank you. I started to lose. I could say, okay, I'm going to lose the next 25 hands. I better get out of here because it's all rigged anyway. Prophet, what is the most democratic country in the world right now? I heard it's Iceland. I think it's like Sweden, Switzerland, those countries. Switzerland's always been cool because of the banking, and they're very. I went to Switzerland, And my girlfriend was very tired, so I had dinner by myself. And I'm talking to the guy next to me, and he says, Switzerland is a very good country. If you commit a serious crime, a rape, a murder, or anything, they throw you out of the country. They don't send you to jail. They throw you out of the country. And so it's a very safe, crime-free country. So I think Switzerland's probably a good place. You know, they're going to have sound currency there. And they don't have a military because it's all mountains. So there's no wars. You're not paying for it. It's a very good country, I think. Sweden, I heard, is okay, although that's more expensive. That's why I went to Lisbon. I heard it's a good place, but half the people don't speak English there. So I don't, but maybe I was in the wrong. I was in like Lisbon, maybe in Portugal. There's other cities. Maybe I needed to go to another city, but we didn't venture around there. So I don't know. It's hard to say because they're all being kind of brainwashed by George Soros. So I'm not sure. But there's nobody on the gold standard. If there was, that's where I would be. Well, we'll have our own country and we'll have the gold standard. What is the max wager on the $50 blackjack tables? I don't know because I just saw the $50. It's probably 1,000. See, they don't like people like me who do a progressive bet. I know they don't like the card counters, but I'm not card counting. I go 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 5 units, 5 units, 5 units, 10 units. I eventually will just keep going if I keep hitting the streak. So if I'm at a $50 blackjack, I'm 50, 100, 150. Then I get up to 250. Then I get up to 500. So they don't want me to start betting 5,000 a hand because I've hit 10 in a row or 15 in a row. So they kind of limit that too. Plus the splitting and the payout on the blackjack is they're fucking you with the odds, just like the sports book. Not only are they charging you $25 to sit at the table, to sit down and watch the game, but the odds are 13 to 10 at MGM. I won't make a bet at MGM. 13 to 10. Are you fucking kidding me? And a 2-team teaser where before it used to be even money. Now I got to lay 13 to 10. And it's the juice that gets you. So you bet 130 to win 100, let's say. Well, that takes instead of 100 to win 100. So that's $30 that you can't bet on another bet until this one wins or loses. Hopefully it wins. And yes, you get your 130 back, but it's not good for that, right? So you don't. It's money out and then when you do lose, you're losing that extra $30 that you shouldn't be losing. I mean, maybe you lose 110, but you shouldn't be losing 130. So you can vary your wagers from 50 to 1,000. That's what you need. Yeah, if it's $1,000 max, absolutely. So the key is you always go down to the bottom when you lose or on a losing streak, and then you go move it up as you're winning. That way you don't even have to go 500. I could lose 10 hands in a row at 50 and then win 6 hands, but because I'm going 50, 100, 200, 500, I end up making money going 40 or 50% because when I'm winning more than the 50, but when I'm losing, I lose that first bet and then it's 50, 50, 50, 50. And that's how you win at it. It's the only way you can win at it. 3-team teasers pay plus 180 at my sports book. Well, that's good. That's why I tend to play the 3-team teaser, because a 2-teamer I might lay 120 to win 100. But as you can see, I always have 8, 9 bet. Like, if I'm looking, I'll take the free pick, which is Minnesota over, and then I kind of gave you Cincinnati Buffalo over, and play with TCU. There's your 3 picks. You're going to play all of them anyway. You're going to play TCU in 20, put them all together. And that's what I showed you yesterday, my 10-team, 11-team teaser. I bet $10 to win 400. I mean, that's why I did it. And even those odds suck. To go, what was it, 10 or 11? Let's say it was an 11-team teaser, I think. I mean, that should have been like 2,000 to 1. If you really look at statistics and going 11 for 11, it's got to be way up there. So they give you 40 to 1, but it's not even close to what the real odds should be on it. Is card counting allowed at your casino? It is. Well, it's not illegal, but you can't be stupid about it. You don't be a team. You don't do all that. That doesn't work anyway. That's all bullshit. With 3 teams, you can always hedge on the final game. Well, exactly. So you play it with TCU at 21, and then so you win the mini over and the Cincinnati over, and you got TCU in 21 for $1,000, and you got odds on it. And then you come back and play Georgia minus the 14, or maybe it's down to 12, and you got a 9-point trap, and you can't lose because you've won the first 2. So you either win both or you win one and you lose one. So, you tend to not bet as much on the trap. So if it's open, so if you got $1,000, if you win it, you maybe bet 400 or 500 on the trap. And then you're only risking 400 or 500, but you can win both sides. You could win 1,500. And that's the idea of trapping it. Nick trapped yesterday. He had a lot of Georgia money, and then he took Ohio State, so he won on both. So he won both sides. So his trap worked. But that was good, yeah. So if you have a lot of money, or too much on one or more, if it's a small bet, you're fine. But if you got a big bet, like me with the Florida State Auburn championship game 5 years ago, or whatever, I had so much money on Florida State because I kept closing with them, and I didn't expect the 10 and the 11 teamer to be there, but everything won. So then I had to bet a little Auburn, but it went up to 11. So I'm -1 and then I'm plus 11, and they win by 3. So it was beautiful. But you can do that. You can win both, but you can't lose both. One of the sides has to win as long as you've got the opener a winner. And that's a very good strategy. You just got to you look for a lot of 2s. So I'm getting 2. I tease it up to 8, and then I lay 2. They win by 3, 6, 7, and you win both ways. And that's a very good number. Or 7.5 down to 1.5, and then you got the 7.5. That's also a good number to tease in that. The positive middle, exactly. So is card counting allowed at your casino? I don't think the casinos don't want to lose. That's why MGM's 13 to 10. That's why they charge for the fucking seats. That's why they overcharge for the food. They look at it as business. So is card counting illegal? No. There's nothing wrong with card counting. And the key is not to be stupid about it. You don't have all the teams. You don't need the teams. You go up to a blackjack table and you look at what's out there. If you see a lot of 10s, okay, all these 10s came out. Small cards are coming. If you see a bunch of small cards hitting, you don't have to card count. You go, oh, there's just 15 2s, 3s, and 4s out there. I bet the 10s are coming. And you play the streak as we do in roulette, red and black. So therefore, all the small cards came out. Okay, the big cards are due. Here they come. And you still might get a bunch of small cards. All of that. And the fact that the deck is rich in 10s doesn't mean anything. What if you get 16 and the dealer's got a 10? You pretty much know he's got 20. You pretty much know if you hit, you're going to get a 10. So that's why I don't think you just win because you card count. I don't think you gives you any more advantage than just playing it regular. It's the key is just being on a hot streak. So if you get on a streak, you're winning is what counts, not what if I get an 11? All right, do I care if the deck's got a lot of 10s? I just hope the next card's a 10. If I got a 7 and a 4, well, I that's just as powerful as a hand as a king and a 9 or a king and an 8. But I got 11. If I get the 10, now even if the deck is not strong in 10s, there's still 10s there. It's the luck. It's the streak. Are you going to get the 10, right? And you hope you do. If you're hot, you'll get the 10, more so than the card counting. So you don't really need to card count. Just see what the cards are out there. And if you see a bunch of little cards, are you really going to bet $2,000 on the deck being rich in tens? Like you think you're going to win? Not if you've lost 5 hands in a row. You're not betting. If I'm at a $5 table and I lost 5 hands in a row, there could be 100 tens out there. I am not betting $100 on that hand. I'm betting 5 until I win. That's the difference. So that's what you like. Yes, I like to be on the good side of the key numbers 3, 4, 6, 7, 10 to a point. But like yesterday, Ohio State Georgia was 5.5, 6. I just took it to even because I thought they'd win. Or look at TCU, Michigan was 7.5. I took it to 13.5. It wasn't a key number. I didn't go down to 1. So here's my point. So BD Wong and all these idiots who just go with the numbers who say, oh, Michigan 7.5, I'm going to take them down to 1.5. How did they do last night? How did the professor and you guys do last night when we took the better team as the dog, getting 13.5, and we all made a lot of money on TCU and 13.5? We didn't go Michigan to 1. That's my point. You've got to analyze the game. Just like now, the 14.5, we're taking 20.5 with TCU. I don't give a fuck what the number is. The number shouldn't be more than 10. It probably should be 7. So I get 21 with the better team. Well, with a good team, they're going to be competitive with Georgia. Georgia's not going to shut them out. I don't know what happened to Georgia, but what I saw against LSU, when I see against Ohio State, I am really concerned that where did Georgia's defense go? So with that said, I'm not worried about TCU in 20 or the over because I'm going to get both. I never tease favorites down to -1 or pick. There's nothing wrong with that. You would have been very happy if you did Georgia down to even. Yesterday, it was 6 down to even. They win by 1. We're all happy. You see Nick and all the guys are very happy that they teased it and it was 0 and they win by 1. There's nothing wrong with that. You've got to play the game, forget the point spread. Who do you like? So if we look, Tampa Bay, Carolina, I'm teasing the dog. I don't know what it's 3.5. I'm going to 9.5. I'm not going over 7. That's not the point of it. The point is I like the dog in the game. Look at Detroit, Chicago. I don't give a shit about the point spread. I'm going over because neither team has a defense. So I'm playing the game over. Or the Giants, Indy. If you like the Giants because they got to get into the playoff, they got to win. You take them down to even. You're playing the teams in the matchup. You don't care about the line. It's that. Philly, I'm taking even because they want to clinch the 1 seed. KC, do I want to take 12.5 down to 6.5? I don't like it because I don't trust the NFL that a big favorite can cover, but they are motivated. They got for the 1 seed, but Denver's pissed off. They're giving up 50 points. I got a new coach. Who the fuck knows what's going on there? I'm just staying away from that. But like Miami, New England, whoever's the dog. Miami started as the favorite. Tagliabue doesn't play. They make New England the favorite. Well, New England's not the favorite. You can't change the spread 6 points because it's Bridgewater. Bridgewater is better than Tagliabue. I don't care. Profit. I never teased. Okay. Detroit over looks good. It's already there. You go. Am I surprised? No. Am I telling you why? Yes. The biggest thing I learned over the last year or two is the bet against the weak defenses. That's what you have. So the weak defenses are Arizona, Atlanta. I would think that game would be high scoring, except for you got bad quarterbacks, so it kind of neutralizes. But you got Chicago, Detroit, over. Jacksonville, Houston, over. And then you got Minnesota, Green Bay, over. And Buffalo, Cincy's pretty good defense. But you got under games in Carolina, Tampa, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. They'll be lucky to get 10 points in that game. So, but by looking at the defense, I'm scared of Seattle because of the Jets defense, right? But I'm not scared of taking let's see, the Giants against Indy, because Indy's got a weak defense, so it's not going to shut down the Giants. So the Giants are probably a pretty good play because they're facing a weak defense. So you want to bet against the weak defense, and you want to take the strong defense when possible. But in Green Bay, Minnesota, I'm not worried about that because both teams have weak defenses. So if I wanted to bet Green Bay, Minnesota's defense isn't going to stop them. But I am worried about Minnesota's offense. And since Green Bay doesn't have a strong defense, that's why I went over with the game. So you're working out the puzzle. Buffalo, since he does have a good defense, so I don't want Buffalo in the game. I like Cincy. And then I'm going over because Buffalo scores a lot and they'll still score. But that's what you're looking for. So you take that to everything, poker, you take it to, am I going to card count at blackjack? You do, if you're real smart, you do it when they don't know. And you don't start betting $10 a hand and $1,000. That's where these guys were stupid. They would go to the table and they'd bet 10 grand a hand. Well, if you would have just bet 1,000 a hand, they could have card counted forever. That's the problem. And then you don't go to the same casino. Now I go to MGM to play poker. I don't go to play the table games that are so rigged it's ridiculous, or to bet the sports, or to eat. The food's so expensive. So they're really fucking themselves over, not really knowing. They're missing the point on the market. Right. They want to charge over market for everything. And they think because you're gambling, you're going to pay more because you're there, like, the restaurant, pizza for $10. Who the fuck wants pizza for $10? The chicken place was closed. There was a Chinese place that was like $18. I'll pass. And then there was a salad place. Like, yeah, I want to pay $15 for a salad with chicken in it. Yeah, right. Okay. And a little salad. So, I mean, this is the problem. I don't complain, but I try to educate the rib guy. You start making them $40 for your slab of ribs, you're not going to have anybody in here, or they're all going to be ordering the chicken, which I noted Friday when I went, everybody was eating chicken, or a lot of the people were, and I got chicken and rib combo. I didn't get the slab of ribs. I got the chicken with 5 or 6 ribs for 21. But I'm noticing they're raising their prices, and that's not good because you're going to lose customers. You can't just raise your prices because your costs went up. That's the trick, and that's what nobody understands. They all think they're going to raise their prices. They don't realize people will just substitute. I don't need to go to barbecue, or if I do, I'll just order the half chicken. Or you know what? I'll go to the grocery store and get a half chicken and barbecue it myself. I mean, it's how hard is it to put it on broil, put some barbecue sauce and some seasonings, and then let it cook. And look what I do with my steaks. It was $9.99 for the New York strips. I bought 3 of them. I wanted to get 3 pounds, but they were all like 3/4 of a pound. So I think I got 2.5 pounds for 3 steaks. And I basted them and marinated and everything and cooked them, and they tasted great. I don't need to spend $46 on a steak at a restaurant when I can cook it at home. And I got 3 for 23. So each one was about $9, now $8. So it was $8. So I paid $8 and made it myself. Much better than they're going to cook at the restaurant. Now, I'm a good cook. I watched Gordon Ramsay show to see what the fuck he does, but he doesn't explain a lot. He uses a lot of sugar. So he's trying to kill everybody without, getting away from sugar. All right, so let's see what's going to happen with gold and silver this week. I think it's going to start. People are off the dollar. By people, I mean China, Japan, the BRICS countries, the euro, England. They're all selling their currency for dollars, and now they're dumping all the bonds. They don't want it. And so that means there's no demand, and we know it happens. So they'll come out with a new currency. There won't be a digital currency. It'll never happen. Don't worry about that, at least in the U.S. They might happen in China or whatever. Who gives a fuck? Nobody's going to communist China. If you do, you're out of your minds. Good luck getting back. Good luck not being killed. mafia controlled. Why would anybody want to go there? Why would anybody want to live there? So we got mafia control here, but it's not as bad. We have a lot of freedom because we're pretty wealthy. So the best thing you can do is buy your gold and silver to keep your freedom. Then as the dollar drops, your gold and silver is going to go up. It will. They can't keep it down only for so long because of the BRICS countries. So the key is, why didn't it go before, Howard? Well, because of the BRICS countries now coming out with currency backed by gold because they want to get off the U.S. dollar. That'll create gold to go up. That'll create the U.S. to go get on the gold standard again and buy dollars and gold. And then once that happens, they need to buy gold, and the price has to go through the moon. And then if they're gold-backed dollars, then you take your ounce of gold that's worth $50,000, $60,000 and trade it in for $50,000, $60,000 backed by gold. You're perfectly fine. That would be the best thing that can happen with the gold and silver, is the dollar backed by gold. And then that's what you buy, and then you're protected because it's for gold. But still, don't trust the government. You can't trust them as far as you can throw them. So be careful with that. All right, time for football. I'm going to eat, and good luck. Again, your free play, Green Bay Mini over, and you can play it with Buffalo, Cincy over. The bowl games, we'll see what happens tomorrow. You got Illinois under, their running backs out. LSU, Purdue, there's injuries to the quarterbacks. USC, if the quarterback plays, I like that. I like USC. And then Penn State, Utah. Again, we're waiting for the quarterback. But if you can get 14.5 and TCU take the 20.5, jump on it, that spread's at least 7 points too high. So you're getting a double teaser. And if I lose with TCU and 20.5, I lose with it. I don't see how I could take Georgia minus 8.5. I certainly can't go under. The only other play is over. As you see, they are both explosive teams, and they will score. So TCU couldn't stop Michigan. Georgia couldn't stop Ohio State. It doesn't just turn around. So the over is such a live play there. But get the over in quickly before that goes to 66 or 70 or whatever they'll move it to. All right, everybody, good luck today. I hope you win a lot. Profit. LSU line has gone from 6 to 15. I don't get it. The Purdue quarterback's out, O'Connell, but the LSU quarterback is also hurt, and I don't know if he's playing. Let's assume he is, but I don't like LSU minus 15. Purdue, how bad are they? Well, they're pretty bad, but I don't know how good LSU is, so I think that's a terrible line. But let's just stick with Georgia, TCU. We know everybody's playing. We know they're strong offensive teams, so go from there. All right, good luck, everybody. www.teaserking.com. I do have 4 locks going today. But it's already kind of past kickoff, but you can buy the late one if you want. Anyway, good luck. Let's make some money. I'll be on tomorrow. We'll talk about what happened today and what playoff is for tomorrow, and then the championship game. You take care, Profit. Yeah, are you okay with the Excel, or let me know? So send me an email. So again, www.teaserking.com. You can get my email, and please feel free to email questions or comments. All right. Have a nice day, everybody. Good luck.